report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
And welcome everyone to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. And back in our sound room, of course, it's TK and Heavy D. We'll be talking to them a little bit later in the show. And Kobe and Kern's back again for another week. Excited to hear what they have to say in the wide world of sports. Ken, another big night on FRL.
Yes, it is, Craig. It's getting late into the fall season. We've had the tournament draw in volleyball. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Cross-country conference meets, Craig, they all start this weekend. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And we're also really looking forward, Craig, to multi-sports star over at Lehman Catholic, Kameron Lee. Cameron's an excellent basketball player over there at Lehman and currently showcasing his talents on the gridiron as he's leading those Lehman Cavaliers to another great season in football.
Yeah, they're kind of Sydney's other team this year. You hear all about the Sydney Yellow Jackets and what they're doing over there. Lehman having a very good season. Haven't heard a whole lot about them, but tonight we're going to find out a lot more. Before we get to that, though, Ken, just like we do here every week on Fish Report Live, we have our weekly poll question. And what do you have for our viewers tonight?
This is a great question, Craig. It'll be real interesting to see how our viewers respond to this one. But which Shelby County football school will have the best postseason? Will it be Anna, Fort Laramie, Lehman, or Sydney? Great question tonight.
Yeah, that's assuming all four of those teams make the postseason. At this point, it looks like a pretty good chance that all four will. So, yeah, we'll be interested to hear what the viewers have to say. If you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page on the computer or your phone, you can scroll down, help us answer that poll question, and check the results. If you're watching us on NK Telco, TK is going to have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started. And we've been talking postseason golf for the last couple weeks. Of course, the state tournament's coming up this weekend. Want to wish best of luck to the Versailles Lady Tigers, the St. Henry Lady Redskins, as they tee off on Friday morning, I believe, at 9 o'clock over there on the OSU Gray course. But another postseason is getting started this weekend, and that is cross country finally. The MAC kicks things off on Thursday, and I think everyone knows the Minster Lady Wildcats are going to win that one. That's not a big surprise. If you don't know, the Minster boys are going to win over there as well, so they're going to sweep that event on Thursday. That's just my opinion. But Saturday, Ken, the SCAL kicks things off with a girls race at 10 a.m., and that girls race, it's kind of been a battle of two teams for the last 8-10 years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, Craig. Between Russia and Fort Laramie, Craig, actually you can go back, I think, on the calendar about 24 years, maybe ever since the start of girls cross country in the Shelby County League. But looking at past champions, split fairly equally. Russia, Fort Laramie, every year has been the league champion. Just a phenomenal stat right there. In 24 years, no one else has ever won the Shelby County League championship. And it'll be the same this year with the Fort Laramie Redskins, I feel, Craig, handily winning the Shelby County League championship.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one, Ken. The last 8 years, Russia's won 7 of those. Fort Laramie's won 1 of those. And like you said, it's been one of those two teams in the top 2. But, I think it's Laramie's race to lose this year. And probably the big reason for that is they have 2 sophomores that we heard about last year. But Danielle Burning over there and Paige Raithman. Paige Raithman, actually the runner of the year last year. Danielle's been running a little bit better than her the tail end of this season. I see her as a contender to actually win maybe on Saturday. Been running very well, but Paige is just a few seconds behind her. They've got that 1-2 combo similar to the boys that you're going to talk about in a second with Laramie having 2 runners right up front there. But, that's a big part of the Redskins team this year. The other part of that team, and I've been talking about this all season, is that strong freshman class they have. Girls like Caitlin Gasson over there and Danielle Eilerman. You got Corinne Heitkamp, Angel Rodriguez, who I didn't know anything about coming into this season. Learned a lot about her this year, but that's the strength of that Redskins team. They all run up front there. They're running very well. Now, that's not to say Russia can't give them a shot. Do they have a shot? Of course they have a shot, but they have to run extremely well as they've run all season, and Laramie has to run not so well. That combination, I don't know if I see that happening, but Russia's got a very good runner, and Becca Seger, a freshman that's been doing very well, been running up front for them all season, with the exception of last week. Actually got a DNF last week over there at Eaton, had a hydration issue, but I'm told she's 100% ready to go this weekend. She's a girl that could challenge for the win with a Danielle Burning or a Paige Wraithman. She won the preview, so she could be one that could win the race as well. They've got a very solid number 2 runner in Megan Frazier, a senior. This is Megan's time of year. Ran a 2020 last weekend. She's a girl that gets better as the season goes on. This is her time to shine right now. Going out her senior year, she wants to leave it all out there on the course. I think she'll run very well. And they have a solid number 3 runner in Claire Meyer. So they got a top 3 there that's very good. They're just, like I said, going to have to run extremely well to give Laramie a challenge. As far as any other teams, like you just said, it's a 2-team race. I don't see anybody else being up there. Now, there are a couple individuals. You've got Holly Voizard over there at Houston. That's been having a sensational season as a junior. She's really broke out this year. I can see her finishing in the top 5. And then there's a freshman over at Botkins, Emma Koenig, that's been running very well. Been getting better through her freshman year as things go on. She's going to be definitely in the top 10 in my opinion. But outside of that, it's going to be a Laramie-Russia thing, and that's how I see it. But let's go over to the boys' side, Ken, and the boys, kind of a 2-team race over there as well, isn't it?
Yes, it will be, Craig. And this year it's going to be between the defending state champion Fort Laramie Redskins and a team, Craig, we've talked about a few times on our show this year, and that's the Houston Wildcats. Houston's got a great cross-country team this year, and, they're led by Tristan Freisteller. Had him on our show earlier in the year. Just a great young runner over there, Craig. But again, with the boys' race, Craig, I think it is Fort Laramie's to lose. I think, if they run to their capability, I think Fort Laramie's going to win the race. They're led by Joe Ballas and Jake Reithman. Jake Reithman's the defending Shelby County League champion. Joe Ballas has been their number 1 runner this year, but those two make a great 1-2 combination, and they've got a lot of depth. And the Redskins are very strong this year. Take nothing away from Houston, but I think they'll finish a strong second. But I don't think they have quite the power to beat Fort Laramie.
Yeah. As far as any individuals there, you got Austin Fullenkamp that's been running very well for Botkins. Botkins they've got a very good middle school program right now.
They're a couple years away.
They're a couple years away, and he's going to be a runner that's I think he's going to finish about 3rd, 4th, maybe Freisteller and him in the 3rd, 4th spot. But yeah, Ballas and Wraithman will be top 2 for them, and I think Laramie runs away with that again. Right. As you said. All right, Cam, well, listen, that's going to do it for cross country. Let's go out to Studio R and check in with Kobe and Kearns. Always fun to talk to those guys. And, guys, we've been talking a little postseason cross country. Want to talk a little postseason volleyball, and that's because the regular season ended on Tuesday night, actually. And, guys, Ken and I got 4 burning questions we want to ask you. We know you always have an answer for everything, so we've got 4 burning questions we want to check in with you guys about. And I guess, first of all, is that whole volleyball tournament draw last Sunday. The Jackson Center Tigers got the number 1 seed, and just a couple days before that, Fort Laramie actually beat them. Fort Laramie gets the number 2 seed, and then you got the Russia Raiders, who beat Fort Laramie on Tuesday. They get the number 3 seed. So is Jackson Center deserving of that number 1 seed, or perhaps should it have been maybe a Fort Laramie or Russia?
I mean, I think it really could have went down to any 3 teams. What I look at when I look at the drawing is I think a lot of the teams that vote, I mean, there's 27 teams, I think, in the sectional. A lot of teams look at the past because they don't really get to see a lot of the teams in person. And a lot of people probably saw that Jackson's won the past 2 state championships, so it probably gave Jackson a better chance to get the 1 seed. But when I really look down at the statistics, I see how the top 3 teams played against the top 3 teams in the Shelby County, because the top 3 seeds didn't really do well against the MAC, didn't really win any games. And Laramie split with Jackson Center, split with Russia, and split with Anna. And Jackson Center actually went 2-4 against all those 3 opponents in their 6 games, and Russia also went 3-3. Fort Laramie last night, even though they did lose to Russia, they were missing 2 of their starters. Their libero, Emily Austin, was out with a concussion, which I think really was showed up on the floor, and it just they couldn't get into a rhythm without her. I truly think Laramie's the best team in the sectional. I think they got a plethora of outside hitters, and they're when Emily Austin plays, the back row is just amazing. I noticed that they really weren't as aggressive and didn't hustle for as many balls last night, which really cost them against Russia.
Interesting answer there, Covey. With you saying Laramie is the best team in the sectional, because Jackson Center got that number 1 seed, and then again Russia beats them at the last league game of the season. But you bring up a very valid point there with the libero being out. That certainly is a big part of that any team's offense, defense, whatever you want to say, and so that does make a difference.
Okay. I want to go to Daniel now here for our next question. And Daniel, I want to ask you, talking about volleyball, let's look at the MAC, the district tournament held up there, which consists of a lot of the MAC schools. The New Bremen Cardinals, no doubt one of the best volleyball teams in the state of Ohio, but when you look at their district, Daniel, can they even get out of the district? What's your opinion on them?
That's a really good question. They got some of the top teams out of the MAC in the same district. It really makes it tough for those kind of teams to really go far in tournament. And you got teams like St. Henry, Marion, Fort Recovery, and New Bremen who all battled it out through the whole entire season. But with players like Paige Jones on your team, she can take over a game at any time. And against St. Henry, Fort Recovery, and Marion, you can only try to contain her, and they haven't done such a great job throughout the year. So I think they'll be tested throughout those games, especially against those big MAC names in their district. But I think they can make it through pretty easily. Yeah,
I think that New Bremen will win the district eventually. I think it will be them and St. Henry in the district final. They actually play tomorrow night at St. Henry, possible preview of the district finals. But I think that this is the best division or the best sectional in anywhere in Ohio, Division 1 through 4. The 1 through 7 seed at this sectional is better than the 1 seed at Troy, the Jackson Center Tigers. Whoever gets out of the Savannah Wirt region will not only make it to state, but I don't think they will lose a single set at regionals. I think their regional will be easier than their district.
Very interesting, and I imagine talking MAC volleyball, I imagine the Coldwater Cavaliers and the Minster Wildcats probably feel pretty fortunate to be in Division III, although Coldwater, a very good team, probably happy that they don't have to run into a New Bremen or a St. Henry or someone like Marion Local somewhere in the Division IV sectional district tournament. Guys, let's change gears and talk a little football. And, of course, last week we talked a little Anna football. They had the return of Travis Meyer on Friday night. Didn't play the weekend before against Marion Local. And, of course, they ran into a buzzsaw with the Flyers. But he comes back against a very good St. Henry team. And what do you know? Anna gets the win. To me, he seems like kind of a sitting duck back there. I know he's a little bit limited with his injury. I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you agree with that, or what's the status of, or how good does Travis Meyer make the Rockets?
It makes a huge difference for him. I mean, just their impressive win against St. Henry on the road like that, and coming off of being out a couple weeks from that knee injury. With him on the field, they're a completely different team. I mean, they don't have to rely on their running backs to get so many running yards, and they can really be dual threat at the running back and to throw out. I mean, they got so many great wide receivers out there that he could throw it up, throw any jump ball to them, and they'll come down with it. And it showed tremendously against St. Henry. I mean, that was a very impressive win. That'll look great for them. Him playing with the team at the end of the season and going into tournament, they'll have a lot of good chemistry out there and look to go far.
Yeah, the return of Travis Meyer means everything for Anna. They, like I said previously, they have a bunch of skill position players at the wide receiver and running back position, and they just needed someone to get the ball to him. Bart Bixler, inexperienced, had a little trouble with that. But with Travis back, definitely, he gets some guys the ball, Austin Fote, Riley Huelskamp, Aiden Ensley, and they got a good offensive line to run behind. Left tackle Abe Wildermuth is a monster. I watched him play earlier, and he's pretty impressive and has got some Division III offers. So, yeah, Travis is the catalyst of that offense, gets everything going for him.
I guess the key is just keeping him healthy, that's for sure.
That's for sure. And, I have to admit, guys, I was very impressed that they went over to St. Henry and got the win. Even with Travis Meyer playing, I thought, he's going to be limited on his mobility back there, but he had a great game. did what he had to do, kept the Rockets close, and they got out of there with a big win. They really needed that win for the playoff points. So one more question, guys, and this one has to do with one of our favorite teams we've been talking about this year, Covey, especially me and Kearns. Who do you think that's going to be about? You guessed it, the Sydney Yellow Jackets. Can they survive another week? They've been winning. They win, but every game's like close, and close. Can they survive? Can they beat Troy?
Yeah, I think they will. I actually saw a picture on Twitter today that said Sydney was playing with the score. Trojans 21, Yellow Jackets 6 on the scoreboard, reflecting the score from last year. But Troy has a little something to play behind right now in the computer points. They're ranked 9th. So definitely this is a make or break for them, especially in Week 8, getting down in the season. But I think that Troy's a little inexperienced at some important positions. And I think that Sydney's just on a roll, and I think they'll advance to 8-0 here.
I absolutely agree. You know, I follow those guys on social media, and I see them. They're really confident with their team. They have fantastic chemistry on and off the field, and with the way that they're playing right now, Isaiah Bowers, you know, he puts the team on his back. He can throw, he can run, and he can take over a game at any moment, especially deep into the game. So yeah, I can see them going 8-0.
Well, I'm certainly excited about them. I'm excited watching their game last Thursday night on Thursday Night Lights against Tip City, and they played well against Pickle the week before. So, yeah, that ought to be a fun one on Friday night against those Troy Trojans. We'll see if they can go to 8-0. All right, great stuff, guys, and thanks for that. And with that, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there when we come back. We're going to talk some more football, including that interview with Lehman star Cam Lee. And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. Before the break, we were talking a little football. We're going to talk a little more football now, and Ken haven't talked about the NWCC at all yet this season. So let's take a look at their standings and see where we're at right now.
Craig, and the NWCC football standings, of course, the Lehman Cavaliers. They've had some great runs here recently in this league. They sit atop the league standings right now, Craig. 4-0, tied with the Riverside Pirates, also at 4-0, and also Lima Perry sitting up 4-0. So definitely a three-team race right there, Craig. Lehman overall with a 6-1 record. They've been playing a great balanced football this year. They've been putting up a ton of points if you see some of their scores, Craig, and obviously they've been helped offensively by Kameron Lee.
Yeah, we're happy to have Cam live on the phone right now. Cam, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you for having me.
Well, listen, great start to the season. We were just talking about it. You guys are off to a 6-1 start, including 4-0 in conference. It's been a good start for your senior year, hasn't it?
Yes, it actually has. So we've been working pretty hard since off season. I think after last year's upsetting play in the playoffs, and it was pretty upsetting for all of us. We all hit the weight room and we all decided that this year had to be a special year for us, especially as 12 seniors. We knew what we had to do, and we knew how hard we were going to have to work for it, and so for the work to pay off.
All right, well, Ken mentioned you're in a three-way tie right now, actually, with Riverside and Perry. You get a chance, Cam, to extend that unbeaten streak this Friday night because you play 2-2 Upper Scioto. On the other hand, Riverside and Perry meet up to play, so things could change pretty quickly this weekend. How much emphasis does Coach Roll over there put on winning the conference?
Coach Roll is going to be big on us winning conference. I know we're all focused on playoffs and stuff, but before we can focus on the playoffs, we need to take this each game at a time. So that Perry Riverside game will really help us get a better look of, which one's going to go up on top and what we need to do to prepare for each one. And playing against Upper Scioto is just going to be big because we're just going to have to play the same sound football that we have been for the past 7 weeks. We've got to stay disciplined. So Coach Roll keeps it pretty basic, just telling us that we need to play within ourselves and play pretty much just Lehman football. So it's not only a big emphasis to him, but for all of us.
Cam, hi, this is Ken. A couple more questions for you here. Last year, you had a great you had a great season. You won the conference. This year, you're sitting atop the conference, and of course, if you do win the conference, I'm sure that's going to lead to a playoff berth. You're currently sitting third in Region 28. Last year, first round of playoffs, you kind of ran into a buzzsaw with the Minster Wildcats, who obviously eventually advanced all the way to the state championship game. What's the Cavaliers done, or what are you doing differently this year to help prepare for the postseason?
We're just working harder. Last year we had some inexperienced guys. Elliot Gilardi, our quarterback, pretty much the heart of our team, was a sophomore and obviously much smaller, less inexperienced. And now that this year, him, our entire line, our great running back, everyone is more experienced, and we're working a lot harder on the field during games, off the field in practice every day. Our mindset, and I can tell from the players around me and my friends, our mindset is football. So that's what I think will be different this year, especially in the mindset of the seniors. It's going to be our last chance to go out here in high school and prove pretty much to the world what we can do. And that's exactly what we've been doing, and I think that's exactly what we need to carry into playoffs, and that needs to be our mindset as well.
Cameron, last year you were first team all-league as a punter. This year you're having a great season as a wide receiver. You also play some defensive back. Of those three positions, which is your favorite, and which one of those three have you worked hardest the most on in the offseason?
I'd have to say that my favorite is wide receiver. And although I have worked a lot harder on corner because I was a little bit slower after my knee surgery, so I wanted to be able to make sure that I could cover those quicker guys. But I think the emphasis that I had working on the hardest was probably receiver, mostly because at the beginning coming back, it was hard for me to cut, hard for me to run sharp routes, hard for me to get back and get to the same level that I was at last year. And I think because of the work and because of how much how great I've been pushed by my teammates and my coach, that I think I've surpassed that point that I was at last year. And with their help, hopefully I can just keep building those over time.
Cam, let's talk about some of those teammates that you've been talking about here throughout our show. You've got running back Owen Smith, couple other great players for you, wide receiver Brandon Barhorse, Michael Bunker. But another guy that's had a great year so far is your junior quarterback, Elliot Gilardi. Tell us a little bit what it's like to play with Elliot as being the quarterback. He's got to kind of be the team leader as well. But, how important is he to the Cavs?
Well, I can tell you that all my other teammates, like you said, Owen Smith and Michael Bunker and Brandon Barhorse, they are important. But Elliot, he just stays calm, which, last year as a sophomore, he was surprisingly calm too. But, each game he comes in with the same mindset, is that no matter what happens on this play, no matter if I threw an interception, no matter if I messed up the read, he comes up with the saying that we always say, play the next play. So I feel like this year he's done a better job of staying in the pocket and delivering nice passes. And when he has to leave the pocket, he's done a great job of throwing on the run. Honestly, playing with Elliott is great just because of the energy that he brings. Me and him are always coming up with some crazy pregame dances and stuff, and that only just helps out with the energy. But obviously, like you said, being a quarterback, he has to kind of be the leader. And although he doesn't have to say as much, and he doesn't really talk as much, he shows more of his leadership through his actions. And I think that leadership quality is going to serve him well, even past football and just about anything he wants to do. So I think the energy that he brings, the energy that he gives to other people is probably the best aspect of playing stuff.
Hey, Cam, listen, we're about running out of time, but I had a couple other quick questions I wanted to ask you. You know, as well as your Cavaliers have been playing, there's another team in town there that's been grabbing most of the headlines, and, of course, that's the Sydney Yellow Jackets. They're sitting at 7-0 right now. And some people may not be aware, but you actually share the same field there over at Sydney Memorial Stadium. You share it with the Sydney Yellow Jackets. I wanted to ask, do you ever run into those guys sharing the same field? Do you interact with those guys? What do you know about that other team in Sydney?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I mean, during summer when we would come to do, workouts and pass and stuff, they'd be there, too. I mean, we would pass with them, talk to them. We get done with the game, and we'll go to B-Dub, somewhere to celebrate. We'll just ask them questions. I mean, I know I've talked to a few of them on their team. I know Christian Townsend and Andre Gordon. You know, just you see them every now and then. You ask them about a game or so, ask them about how they did, and they've been getting big wins this year against Pitt City and the Pickle game, which obviously I didn't get to see, but hearing about it, it's pretty crazy. So I think their success combined with our success is actually really lighting up Sydney. Sydney has a lot of energy. Just the city itself, people are more excited to come to both Sydney games and Lehman games.
All right. Well, hey, listen, last question, but I know you like playing football, and as Ken mentioned, you like to play basketball as well. We'll see you on the hardwood here, I'm sure, in just a month or so. And I've also seen you hanging out here in Russia once or twice. But beyond all that, what other interest are you going to have once you graduate from high school next spring?
I actually have an interest in majoring in psychology, and so I've been thinking hard about what I want to do, and both my brothers and sisters, they go to Capital University. It's a small college up in Columbus. And I recently applied and got accepted there. And I really like the university. And it might actually give me a chance to play both football and basketball if I can actually stay healthy long enough to be able to play those. I think that if I want to do both of those, then Capital would be a good choice. If I want to do one, choice. I've also been thinking about going to the University of Findlay. It's also a very nice university, a very nice college, and like to play just basketball there. And that's just about it. That's all I've thought about so far. I know that things can change throughout time, and when basketball season comes, it's going to get kind of tricky. Just trying to get my mindset on what I want right now and just kind of enjoy senior year, because right now it's flying by. So is football. So I'm just enjoying it as it goes, and looking forward to what my future has planned for me.
Well, that sounds great, Cam. And listen, great job tonight. Great interview, and like you said, really enjoy these next 6 or 7 months, because I can tell you they're going to go really fast. Before you know it, it's going to be May, and you're going to be graduating. So good luck to the Cavaliers. Good luck Friday night. And, hope to see you around Russia off and on, and we'll definitely see you on the hardwood floor this year.
Yes, you will. Thank you for having me again.
Take care, Cam.
You too. Thanks.
All right, and that was Lehman star Cam Lee. You said can a star on the football field as well as the basketball court. And we're about running out of time, so I want to go back to the sound room, check in with the guys back there real quick. Guys, we've hit about every sport, every fall sport you can hit tonight. But some big news just yesterday on the a winter sport, basketball, flying to the hoop teams were announced, weren't they?
Yeah, they sure were, Craig. 16th annual Flying to the Hoop this year again at Kettering's or Fairmont's Trent Arena. A couple local area schools. We've got Sydney, Andre Gordon matching up against the Versailles Tigers. That ought to be a good one with Justin Arns, Ohio State Buckeye, two-time commit, I guess. We've also got Laramie versus Thurgood Marshall, and Minster playing Franklin Monroe. So a couple of nice area schools. Trent Arena is a great place to watch basketball. 4,400 seating capacity. Expect about 20,000 people at the weekend event. Just a great venue for basketball. A lot of great teams in the area and a lot of good teams. California, Nevada, Virginia. They're coming in from all over.
Yeah, they bring them on. It's always nice to see some local teams there as well. TK, what do you think about those three matchups that Heavy D mentioned?
Interesting matchups all the way across. I think the best one's going to be the Sunday matinee between Sydney and Versailles. That one's going to offer up a lot of offense and maybe not a lot of defense. I think there's a couple kids on either side who want to make a show out of that one, and it should be some fun watching. But that's probably going to be the highlight of the three. Then, of course, as he said, we got Monday morning Minster with Franklin Monroe. Last year, Franklin beat them by 5. Both schools have lost a couple seniors off that team, so it should be a good game, a close game. Then Fort Laramie, Thurgood Marshall, not going to be a good game, I don't think. I think Fort Laramie is just going to have too many weapons, too much muscle across the court there, and that'll be good for about a couple minutes, and then Fort Laramie's going to walk away with that one.
That's good stuff back there, guys. It's hard to believe we're talking about basketball season, but before you know it, it'll be here.
Yeah, already looking forward to that big weekend coming up, Martin Luther King weekend in January. All right, guys, hang in there for just a second because we got one more thing to do, and that is tonight's poll question. Ken, why don't you tell our viewers what the question was again?
Poll question tonight to our viewers: which of these Shelby County football teams will have the best postseason? Will it be Anna, Fort Laramie, Lehman, or Sydney? TK, what are the telemetrics saying back here tonight?
The telemetrics say Sydney is going to have the best postseason, and then Anna is in second place on that poll question tonight.
Well, they're certainly having the best regular season right now, that's for sure.
They are. Mm-hmm.
All right, great stuff, guys. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. We do want to say special thanks to our guest, Cam Lee from Lehman, for joining us tonight. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week. Same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report, hanging at the fish report. Hanging